Let's ride.
Time for the words that are recited before each and every game here at Dodger Stadium. Take it away, Finn.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
What's going on, Dodger fans? Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. Hope you're all doing well out there. Your Los Angeles Dodgers are 43-25. They have a half-game lead as we're recording over the San Diego Padres. They just are coming off a commanding sweep of the Cincinnati Reds. They dropped 26 runs over 3 games. We're going to talk about Gonsolin picking up his 9th win, Clayton Kershaw shoved today, maybe some all-star talk later on, and who's hot, who's not. But first, let me introduce our guest today, David Contreras. You might find him all over the place on Twitter, photoshopping and talking smack at Doyers Dave on Twitter. How you doing, Dave?
Good, man. Thank you guys for having me on today. It's an honor.
Of course.
It's an honor for us, Dave.
I mean, I've seen Klein before. I was at Dodger Stadium, but he was in the good seats, so it was pretty far. Nice to see his face up close.
I do remember that you sent me a DM, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's me. So anyways, yes, the Dodgers destroyed the Reds in this series. Most recently, 10-5 victory. The Dodgers hit a season-high 5 home runs. We're talking Freddie Freeman went deep, Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, Will Smith, and Trace Thompson, who has joined the team since the last time we've recorded. We actually haven't recorded since they played the Angels. They got defeated by the Guardians and now the Reds. So here we are. We're finally back. Jake Reiner, take it away. What are your thoughts on the Dodgers over the last few games, I guess?
I said this on Twitter, but I felt like this was a get right series for everybody on the team. Guys that had been slumping or underperforming, like Justin Turner, Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, you mentioned, all those guys, Bellinger, all those guys came through on either multiple games during this Red series or maybe just today on Thursday. But this was a get right series for this team. They're going to need it too as they head to Atlanta. It's going to be a really tough series as the Braves are on fire. We thank them though for their part in defeating the Giants, so that's good. But yeah, it was a little concerning against the Guardians. Now they are a pretty decent team. They are, atop the AL Central, but it's a team that the Dodgers should have handled, especially at home. And it's kind of been surprising how weak the Dodgers have been at home and how good they've been on the road. So I was very encouraged by this Red series. I'm down to get into the nitty gritty with you guys, but this couldn't have come at a better time for this team going into a tough series in Atlanta.
Yeah. And one last comment I have before I pass the torch over is you got to feel good because the Dodgers beat some good Red starters. Even though the Reds are in last place, they beat Tyler Mahle, who has a FIP under 3.5. They beat Luis Castillo, who's maybe the most coveted trade piece out there in terms of starters on the market. And then they beat Hunter Green, who actually gave them a little bit of trouble last time out. And he throws hard, but they absolutely torched him today. But David Rosenthal, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so on the contrary, honestly, I didn't feel that good about that Reds series. I feel like that's kind of what the Dodgers needed to do. I mean, there was a couple Reds relievers who I legitimately felt bad for. You go back to yesterday, I think the dude's name was Joel Kunal or something, pitched an inning, started this next inning, and just looked like he was plucked from the stands and asked to get outs. So, look, the Dodgers did what they needed to do. We're seeing a couple guys step up in the absence of Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith specifically. Lux has been great. The Guardians series was kind of bad. I mean, that's kind of what we've seen from this Dodgers team. They've just been inconsistent and they've kind of let games, out of their grasp. So look, they did what they needed to do against Cincinnati. This Brave series is definitely going to be the big test. I'm guessing they're going to get to face Kenley Jansen at some point, so that should be interesting. But they need 2 out of 3 here from Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman had a huge series up in Cincinnati. He went 7 for 13 with 2 home runs and 10 RBIs. He's just been the money man as of late with runners in scoring position, hitting well over 300 on the season. Now he's got 45 runs batted in and OPS over 1,000 over his last 15 games with 4 home runs. So there was definitely some disappointment where that power was. He's been showing it as of late. Will Smith also had a big series, 5 home runs over his last 15 games played. He's got 10 home runs now on the season. OPS almost at 800, 795. I'll stop there because I want to ask you guys, at this point, Will Smith has to be a lock as at least the reserve catcher, right, for the All-Star team?
I mean, he should be. He should have been last year, and he wasn't. So, I mean, even when someone I think got injured or something, they gave the reserve role to that Brewers catcher. I forget his name.
Omar Narvaez.
Yeah, that guy. So, I mean, he should be. Right now, he's 5th in voting. So I don't know what these people are watching. I don't know if they're going to sleep at 7 p.m. But I mean, it's pretty obvious he should be at least one of the 2 starting catchers in the NL.
Yeah, I agree. Trea Turner also has been on a tear. He's in a 13 for 30 hot streak. That's a 433 batting average. Last 15 games or so, OPS well over 1,000. On the season now, he's batting 312, 361 on base, 848 on base plus slugging. Not sure where he ranks overall in terms of the batting title, but I have to imagine he's up there. And right now he is the leading vote getter for NL shortstops. And I've been voting for him just about every day.
He's just consistent is what he is. I mean, he kind of just gets a hit or 2 every single day. And, it may not be the flashiest hit, may not be the most timely hit, but he's consistently on base. His defense has gotten better. He's still better defensively than Corey Seager. I don't care what Kevin or what Fangraph says. But he's just kind of steady Eddie. And that's kind of what the Dodgers have missed with Mookie Betts being out. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of contract he's going to get, but I would like to see him stay.
I do love the fact that he wants to be in there every day. And I heard in an interview with that he had with David Vassay, he was sort of saying that every time his name is not on the lineup card, he feels like he's in timeout. So I just love that from one of your superstars, especially coming from a guy that, like you said, is playing in a contract year, trying to get as much money as possible in the offseason. You'd think, I mean, just, conventional wisdom would tell you that you'd want to maybe watch out for, any injuries and maybe take it a little easier so that you don't, hurt yourself in the offseason, a chance to get a big contract. But you got to love the fight that both he and Freddie Freeman have to be in the lineup every single day. You got Trea, who's a guy that is waiting to get a big contract, and Freddie just got a big contract. So you could see both those guys saying, either way, not wanting to play every day, but they do. And the Dodgers have needed them for sure without Mookie Betts.
And you get to see a good matchup this weekend because we could see a possible replacement in Dansby Swanson, who's been hitting the cover of the ball too. So just in case Turner leaves, we could see what Swanson can do.
Oh yeah, that's my like number one target, assuming Trea leaves. I love what Swanson does, especially with the glove. He might be the best defender right now, shortstop wise.
He's pretty remarkable.
I mean, and you already have Freeman, who he loves. So, there's a case to be made for him to come here.
That is a good point. Also, I think he's a Vanderbilt guy, so
Yep,
maybe it's that Walker Buehler connection.
Well, sadly, he won't be with David Price if he comes with the Dodgers.
David just pushing for that David Price off the team narrative. So
what I was thinking though? I was thinking because it would seem to me like, obviously he has no role on this team. We've talked about it. He came in the 9th inning in today's game when the Dodgers are up 10-5. So it's clear that he really doesn't have a defined role, but I was trying to think of like, why is it that he is sticking around as long as he is, given the production value? It has to be some type of clubhouse guy type of thing. It has to be. Because Trace Thompson said in an interview after, I believe, yesterday's game, he said that David Price was the guy who texted him when the Dodgers traded for Trace Thompson. So, and I've heard that a lot from guys that are just like, yeah, we love David Price and we revere him and like we'd love having him around. So that must be playing a huge factor here.
So basically, we're paying him $15 million to be like a consigliere to welcome new players.
To be Hanser Alberto, basically. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Well, Josiah Gray said the same thing about David Price, and whether you want to accept it
to us on this podcast.
Yeah, he did.
Whether you want to accept it or not, the Dodgers actually need David Price at this moment in time because they don't have a second lefty. Caleb Ferguson just went on the IL with some type of arm tendonitis. We don't know what the timeline will be on his return. Garrett Clevenger, we've seen little spots of, but he really hasn't proven anything. And then Danny Duffy is now expected to return in September.
No. What did we say last time, Kevin? There's no more Danny Duffy talk unless we see him on the field for the Dodgers. That's it.
Well, I did see him on the field. He was throwing in his very beginning rehab. So
that does not count.
So like I was saying, they only have two lefties. It's Vesia and Price. And the only other option really is just to go out in the market because Victor Gonzalez is also still injured.
Yeah, that's right.
Dave, what's your take on David Price?
I agree with the other David, man. I don't think there's a spot on this roster for him, man. I'd much rather have Moranta, who gets tossed back and forth and has been pretty solid when given a chance in the same role, I think, in mop-up duty, but he's been pretty solid. I'd much rather go with Moranta than Price if it's just because of clubhouse guys. We have plenty of those. We have Turner, we have Freeman. There's enough of those clubhouse guys. We don't need another one.
But if Vesia is unavailable, you just roll with the righty.
You got Clevenger available. You got Justin Bull, who's been okay. You got options. You can always find a lefty on the trade market. There's for sure a couple in AAA or AA who could do exactly what David Price does.
No disrespect. The reality is you're not going to go give a high leverage spot to David Price versus a lefty, I don't think.
Right.
No disrespect to Brule, but he really hasn't shown it this year. He can't even throw the ball to first base properly.
Has he been worse than David Price though? I don't think so.
Probably.
I really don't think so. If the game was on the line and we needed a lefty out of the pen, I would go with any of the other guys over David Price.
I thought you were going to say I would go with Dave Roberts.
I would unfortunately go with David Price just because at least he has that experience.
Oh God. How far can that take you if your stuff isn't there?
Well, they need a second lefty, but I'm just saying in the meantime, he is that guy.
Sure. For 2 more weeks. Sure. But it's there's going to come a point, and it's been that point where it's time to say goodbye. Let's just agree to say that.
Oh, without a doubt. If Ferguson
he's got some hold on this team. I don't know what it is, but he's got some hold on them.
Ferguson is
legit. World Series without him.
He just needs to stay healthy. That's the issue with Ferguson. He keeps getting hurt.
That could be a procedural move too, because they needed to put somebody, off the team or whatever for the pitchers going down to 12 rule. So that could be that too.
Yeah, definitely. So Clayton Kershaw continues to just dominate. He's now 5-1 on the season. He has a 2 ERA clean, a whip under 1, 47 strikeouts over 47 strikeouts over 45 innings pitched. Hasn't missed a beat in the 3 starts since coming back from the IL. I really want to see him make that all-star team. And that's all I have to say with Kershaw. Just that slider just continues to get hitters swinging and missing.
I think he makes the all-star. I don't know how, but I think he makes it. It's in LA and he's already a legend. He has to make it somehow.
If he makes it, he has to start, right?
Over Gonsolin?
I would imagine so.
At this point, right? The All-Star game doesn't matter anymore in terms of who gets home field advantage. It's something that, is pretty much an honorary kind of fun day. The game doesn't matter. It's crazy to me though that the Kershaw's never started an All-Star game. That to me is wild. That he's never once started an All-Star game. So this would be the first time.
Yeah, I think if he makes it, I think Brian Snitker is the kind of guy who would do that. He seems like been around in baseball for 50 years kind of guy, going to give it to Kershaw for 1 inning in his home stadium. So
yeah, 1 inning. That's all you need.
The problem is I don't know if he's going to be able to make it just because he was out for so long. That's the only question mark.
Well, do you mean eligibility?
No, he'll be eligible. Fernando Tatis got however many votes and he hasn't played a game, but I just don't think he's going to have enough of a, sample size this year to warrant being on the team. He's only started 7 or 8 games.
Yeah. If it's for narrative purposes, they'll put him on, but in terms of actual eligibility, he just doesn't have enough on his resume this season to make it. But you never know. A lot of pitchers seem to just get taken off recently because they pitch a day or 2 before, and then they have to get a replacement. And then there's sometimes replacements for that replacement. So who knows? But I do think that if we're just going off what they've done this season, then Tony Gonsolin is your National League All-Star. I mean, he has the best ERA in all of Major League Baseball at 158. He also is holding opposing batters to the lowest batting average in Major League Baseball. And he leads the sport in wins. He's got 9 of them, whether you want to put stock in that or not. I do have a fun stat about Tony Gonsolin coming off a Dodgers loss, and then Gonsolin takes the mound. What Gonsolin has been doing during that sample size. So it's 6 starts. He's gone 6-0, obviously meaning the Dodgers haven't lost a game in those 6 starts, and 34 1/3 innings pitched. He's only given up 3 runs, which equates to an 0.79 ERA, and hitters are hitting 0.96 against him. So he's been the true stopper. Like when the Dodgers need to get back in the W column, he's been that guy all season long. And he's beaten teams like the Braves and the Mets. So he's doing it against legit competition.
Yeah, that's the mark of a good team, when you have a guy that is able to be that stopper for you, to not let a losing streak linger or a bad stretch linger. It sort of resets everything. And he has been that guy. Even when it looks like he gets, even when he looks like he's getting into trouble, he's able to get out of it. And his pitch mix looks unbelievable. That splitter is off the charts. And the fastball is working really well for him. So yeah, he will be an all-star starter. And if Kershaw doesn't make the all-star team, I think there's a strong case to be made for Tony Gonsolin starting the all-star game.
I think it's a little crazy this year that every time I was more nervous seeing Walker Buehler or Julio Urias start a game than I have been watching Tony Gonsolin or even Tyler Anderson. It's like I assume we're going to get 2 straight wins when those 2 guys pitch.
It's pretty insane how even without Buehler in this rotation, you feel good about every single one of these 5 guys. It's, Gonsolin and Anderson for sure have been like the 2 aces. Kershaw's been great when he's been out there. Urias has been super solid pretty much every start. And then Andrew Heaney, obviously he's only pitched 2 or 3 games, but you feel good when he's on the lineup card.
Yep. Urias has a 2.56 ERA. I feel like that's the most quiet, low ERA I've ever seen in my life.
Because he's not getting any run support.
Yeah.
He's not bottom 3 in baseball after being number 1 in run support last year.
Yeah. Well, in his most recent outing, he finally got the run support.
It's because he can't hit for himself now.
But yeah, I mean, Urias and Tyler Anderson both have a strong case of being NL All-Stars as well. I think they'll only go with 2 Dodgers starters at the most, just because there's only so many spots you can give out. But Urias and Anderson, and they're going to battle for that 2nd spot, I think.
Yep, I agree.
In terms of other All-Stars, I think Mookie Betts, assuming he just doesn't get passed up by the rest of the competition and he's healthy by the time that game starts, I think he'll be the starting right fielder. He is the leading vote getter. I mentioned Trea Turner, shortstop, and then Will Smith, probably the reserve at catcher. The only other guy I'm thinking that might have a shot is Freddie Freeman, but I think he's trailing Goldschmidt, Alonso, and CJ Cron at the moment. So I don't know if they're going to do 4 first basemen unless they do 2 DH, but I guess he's not really a DH either.
Yeah, and if you have to have a representative from every team, you gotta figure CJ Cron is going to be the guy for Colorado.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So Trace Thompson, brought him up for a quick second, hit a home run Thursday. He also had a double Wednesday. Dodgers they made it clear that they were going to acquire a right-handed bat, preferably in the outfield. They got a deal with the Tigers. How are we feeling about the return of Trace Thompson?
It's a really good field story, man. However long he stays here, I just want to see him start in right field and get a couple of hits, man. It's really nice to see him back.
Yeah, it's kind of remarkable. He got opportunities in, I believe, every one of the games in Cincinnati, but didn't start any of them because they were all right-handed starters on the mound for the Reds. But yeah, I agree with Dave. This is a really feel-good story for him. And if he can produce like we saw him produce the past few games, he had that clutch 2 RBI double on Wednesday and then a home run in the 9th on Thursday. That's all you can really ask for. I mean, the main thing is we got to have a guy out there that can play the position. Whether that's Trace Thompson or Chris Taylor, I'm fine with either of them in right field. I have confidence in their abilities. I don't have confidence in Eddie Alvarez out there. And I don't know what he's doing out there, to be honest. There's nothing against Eddie Alvarez. I like the guy. He's got a lot of speed, but he's not in there for his glove and he's not in there for his bat. So what is he in there for? I understand the platoon thing, and Dave Roberts loves that. And he sort of has given him the role as the starting right fielder, which I just doesn't make any sense to me. But I say you put the best defense out there. I don't care about righty-lefty matchup in that situation. You're not adding anything in that lineup with Eddie Alvarez in there. So to me, it's like I'd rather have Trace Thompson right on right than have the platoon advantage with Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah, that's actually what on Twitter at TPC_50 wanted us to touch on, how we feeling about Eddie Alvarez in right field. Just to go even further, what are we doing here? Why is it Eddie Alvarez over Jake Lamb at this point? That's
where I was going.
It's infuriating. He's hitting 294 down in OKC. He's got 15 home runs, 49 RBIs, 954 OPS. He does have an opt-out coming up in July where he can explore the free agent market. And I don't see how he skates by because he should be at the major league level at this point. And the Dodgers bench is pretty bad, where it's at a point now where I trust Trace Thompson more than I do Eddie Alvarez, even Zach McKinstry, Hanser Alberto as well. And then they added, what is his name? Stefan Romero.
Yeah.
Whoever that is.
Okay.
What are we doing?
What the hell are we doing? First of all, who the hell is that guy? I have never heard of that guy in my entire life. Never seen him on a minor league roster. Never heard of him ever.
He's 33. Well, he was spending the last few years in Japan, so that's probably why.
Great. Well, maybe we should send some of these guys who are currently to Japan and call up Jake Lamb, because what the literal hell are we doing? Eddie Alvarez, sorry, not it. Just not it. Romero, don't even know who you are. Hanser Alberto has not done anything to move me. And Trace Thompson, yeah, he's hit well, but I mean, is he Jake Lamb in the minor leagues? I don't think so. If we let this guy,
actually, Trace Thompson had been tearing it up in the minors.
Yeah. Fine,
he had
Trace
17
Thompson
home
can
runs.
stay. Trace Thompson can stay. But if we let Jake Lamb explore free agency and opt out on July 1st, Andrew Friedman should be fined for negligence, because this has gone on long enough. I mean, seriously, I cannot think of one reason why this guy is not on the major league roster. We have plenty of guys we could move on the 40-man roster to make some space. He can play third base. He can play the outfield. It makes zero sense. And I've thought about this for a while. I do not understand it.
Yeah, if we keep Eddie Alvarez over getting Jake Lamb up here, I don't know what we're doing. It makes no sense. None. Really.
Zero. Negative sense.
Also, what doesn't make any sense is, okay, so you have Eddie Alvarez on the roster. Again, why is he playing right field? It makes perfect sense. You stick Lux in left, and I understand Lux, doesn't have a lot of experience out there, but relative to Eddie Alvarez, he has a ton more experience in the outfield than Eddie Alvarez does. So does Chris Taylor. And I know that Chris Taylor primarily left fielder, and we know that he can play center field. He's played right field a little bit more than Eddie Alvarez, and he actually started in right field on Thursday. So I don't understand why we're even experimenting with Eddie Alvarez in the outfield when you can shift those guys over and have Alvarez play a more comfortable position at second base. To me, it makes no sense. Also, when you have a close divisional race, and I get it, we're fairly early in the season, going towards the midway point. I understand that, it's not, dire straits at this point, but it is a close race in the NL West. And as we saw last year, which we keep bringing up, one game will matter, right? One game matters here or there. So why are we experimenting, giving him a shot in the outfield when there's really no need to take that risk?
Yeah, I don't get it, because I think
that was a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
I think it was Saturday where that same lineup, we had Lux in left, Taylor in right, and then for some unknown reason, the next day he switched it up and he put Alvarez out there when we already had a good. I didn't get it. So I just
I don't care where we put Eddie Alvarez, because he shouldn't even be out there. Jake Lamb should be out there. I don't care if you put him in right field. I just don't care. He's fine. He's gonna make an error. Gavin Lux might make an error out there too. I don't really see a difference of Lux and Alvarez in the outfield. I think it's pretty similar. They're both not experienced there because they're not outfielders. Who has played the outfield is Jake Lamb, who's rotting in AAA.
Well, if you were to believe David Vassay, he's been saying this a lot lately, that he believes that Jake Lamb is going to make an appearance in this Atlanta series. So I don't know. Take that with whatever grain of salt you want. But he seems to think, well, because his option's coming up, his decision about
July 1st,
right? So it is, it's time to, shit or get off the pot with him. So I think that if he does make an appearance, it could be the Atlanta series. We'll see.
Well, look, if they're just giving Alvarez this next week to try to, do something, then that's fine. But if July 1st passes and something hasn't happened, I'm going to be very upset.
More upset than you are now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, new player to focus on. We got 2 questions about this individual guy coming from @Zimzy and @Blue October, basically asking us to touch on Craig Kimbrel, a very popular subject who we seem to talk about a lot too, because we get asked about him a lot. So anyways, Craig Kimbrel is 0-3 on the season, has a 4.50 ERA, 34 strikeouts over 22 innings pitched, and an ugly whip of 1.55. Now, against the Reds, he was okay, but thinking back to that Guardians series, there was a game, it was a tied game in the 9th inning, and he shit his pants. And some people blame Eddie Alvarez for not making that catch, which I guess is the whole narrative of he's not a good defender. But let's be real. Kimbrel walked a guy. He gave up the contact. They were playing Alvarez way over anyways. I don't think anyone, maybe other than Mookie Betts, is going to grab that ball. And a lot of people are starting to get nervous whenever Kimbrel takes the mound. But Dave Roberts continues to reiterate that he is the Dodgers closer. And in my opinion, I don't think they're going to make the change at this moment in time because 1, Dave Roberts is kind of stubborn, and 2, there just isn't enough of a reason right now to pivot to someone else to close out ball games.
Here's my take on this. There is no other option. What are you going to do? Have Kimbrel come out in the 7th inning, in the 8th inning? I mean, we already know that he only thrives in one specific scenario this year, which is 3+ runs of a lead in the 9th inning and a save opportunity.
Which is preposterous for a major leaguer, let me just add.
No, it is. But any other scenario you bring him out there, you risk catastrophe. Now, there is an argument to be made that, okay, if you bring him on in the 7th or the 8th and he implodes, at least you have a little bit of time to possibly make that up. Whereas in the 9th inning, you could lose the game right then and there. So I get that, but the Dodgers really don't have a lot of options. I mean, you're not going to move Daniel Hudson out of his role. You're not going to move Phillips out of his role. Those guys are thriving in the roles that they're in, and asking Evan Phillips to be a closer all of a sudden, I just don't see how that could be favorable. You could go with a closer by committee, but again, it's like the Dodgers don't have a lot of depth at the back end of that bullpen, especially with Treinen out.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you, Jake. They do have another option. It's Daniel Hudson, I think, would be the guy. But you're still going to have Craig Kimbrel on the team. So if he's shitting his pants in the 9th, he's probably going to shit his pants even more in the 7th or 8th, which we've seen throughout his career, which is what happened when he was with the White Sox and they had Hendricks closing and Kimbrel just couldn't do the 8th inning. I mean, he was atrocious. So I think the solution is to just let it ride out and hopefully he gets right. And if it doesn't, you make the change when you get closer towards the end of the season. Because we've talked about before, they don't have any emotional attachment to him. They don't have a financial attachment or commitment to him beyond this year. So if you hurt his feelings or you just have to cut him loose, so be it. It's not the end of the world. It's not the same as what we were going through with Kenley Jansen last year. And this is right around the time when Kenley Jansen was kind of shitting his pants last year. He had those 2 games against the Giants. I believe those were in June as well. And we were having the same exact discussion, although there was more of an emotional, long-term kind of feeling around it. And here, you don't really have that. And you're going to get Treinen back at some point, I think. I mean, that's what this is trending towards. And I don't think they're going to go with him as the closer because we know his role and where he thrives most is the heart of the order, whether it's 7th, 8th, or even 9th. So I don't think he will be the guy in the ninth. So you got a lot of people hoping, when he comes back, he's the closer. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I think you guys both hit it, right in the head. It's you're either gonna have him shit in the eighth or do it in the ninth. And really, you need him right now because we don't have training. So once he comes back, maybe you have a little bit of leeway and maybe you can make the change with Hudson. But other than that, right now you just got to let it ride because there's no better option out there.
Yeah, and it's tough too when you've got guys like Vesia and especially Bickford really struggling. Vesia's been a little bit more consistent, but still wobbly. But Bickford has had a huge letdown this year. So you don't have that same depth where it felt like last year the bullpen was so dominant. It didn't matter what inning or what situation, you knew guys were going to come through.
Dark horse closer option is Yency Almonte.
He's been fucking great.
He's been great. He's been terrific.
I think he deserves higher leverage situations too.
Yeah.
None of this like sixth and seventh for no reason.
I agree. I think he needs to be one of the top 3 guys in the back end of that bullpen.
It sucked having to bring him in though today because Bickford came in and gave up 4 runs.
Yeah, I mean, he's been pretty low mileage this year. I think he only has 10 or 11 innings, so I'm not too concerned about that. But, another dark horse option later down the road here to close, Dustin May.
Tough because they said they're trying to build him up as a starter.
They lie all the time, man. Dave, you can't believe anything Dave Roberts said at his pregame or postgame conferences. He's talking out of his ass the whole time.
Dustin May is going to go full Julio Urias come postseason and throw like 3 inning saves.
Yep, I could see it.
Yeah, I mean.
That's a guy you want in the 9th inning. He has that closer mentality, even though he's a starter.
Yeah, I think they got options. They can get May in there, assuming he remains on track with his rehab. And then maybe Ryan Pepio comes back up and they just use him out of the bullpen if he gets some command down. He is on the 40-man roster, so doesn't hurt them.
Can we get guys that are used to doing roles that they're used to? Like this is, it's like,
this is how you win.
I know it's a free for all in the outfield at this point.
Adam Wainwright in 06, David Price in 08, although they didn't technically win, but they got to the World Series because of Price.
Bumgarner,
Patrick Corbin, 2019. You just got to get weird. Weird shit happens in the playoffs.
I know, but it's happening in the regular season.
Better than that. It's better that than having to rely on Brandon McCarthy.
Don't get me started on that asshole. Also, no more Clayton Kershaw out of the bullpen ever. Let's just reestablish that.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I have to say though, when I did see Brandon McCarthy come out of the bullpen, I did have a moment of like, this guy's still on the team.
I just felt like death.
Dodgers move on to Atlanta next, an NLCS rematch. Maybe these 2 teams will play again for the 3rd time in a row in the NLCS, but Dodgers got their number earlier in the season back in April. They won 2 of the 3 games. The Braves have just been pretty hot recently. They were on a 14-game winning streak not too long ago. They just took 3 of 4 against the San Francisco Giants. Now they host the Dodgers. Austin Riley, 18 home runs, still a threat. Marcell Ozuna, no longer beating woman. He's just beating home runs now. He's got 13 home runs.
Jesus Christ.
Dansby Swanson, 12 home runs, might be one of their hottest hitters right now. Got like 5.
Still reeling.
Matt Olson, 10 home runs. The Freddie Freeman replacement. Travis d'Arnaud, catcher, 10 home runs. And then the brother of Wilson Contreras, William Contreras, has 9 home runs. He's been their DH for the most part. So touching on a couple things, this is the homecoming for Freddie Freeman. Do you guys think that the Braves fans are going to welcome him? Do you think they're going to boo him? Or do you think it'll be a mixed reaction?
I think it's definitely going to be a mixed reaction. I mean, just go on Twitter and reading some of the stuff. Like, there's a lot of love, but there's definitely a lot of like resentment because he left. So I think it's going to be definitely a mixture.
Those are just dumb Braves fans. I mean, like, what do you mean? Like, I understand that he's probably going to get a mixture of boos, but like, he didn't leave. They didn't want him. So how are you going to fault him for taking it? He wanted to stay in Atlanta, and they said, no, we'd rather have Matt Olson. So I think in a perfect world, he should get a standing ovation. I assume he's getting his World Series ring.
He is.
Yeah.
So that should be a great moment for him. And it's great that Freddie Freeman had such a great series against the Reds to basically prepare for this series against the Braves. I'm expecting big things from him in this series.
Yeah, he's going to get a standing ovation. 95% of these fans are going to recognize what he did for the city, recognize that he wanted to stay, and recognize that he helped them win a World Series. I think there's going to be, maybe 5% of the fans who are the loudest on Twitter who are going to be all stubborn and say, oh, well, he just wanted to go to LA and be Hollywood and do all that. Yeah, those are the same fans who are like very passionate about the tomahawk chop. Not the ones who just like do it, but like are very passionate about it.
Adamant about it not going anywhere.
They need the tomahawk chop. It's not like a discussion for them. It's like they're very vehement that they need it. So there's going to be idiots who boo him. It's not there. Those boos will be drowned out by a huge standing ovation. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So back to the Braves hitters real quick. And I think Freddie Freeman will get a standing ovation. I think they're going to even probably pause the game for like 2 minutes.
For sure.
I think it'll be that loud. Dansby Swanson, Travis d'Arnaud, Michael Harris, and Orlando Arcia all have an OPS over 1,000.
Who's Michael Harris?
The fuck is that?
He's been one of their hot rookies. They called him up not too long ago, and he's just been tearing it up. The Braves, kind of like the Dodgers, just have a deep farm system and continue to call up guys who produce. Didn't even mention Ronald Acuna Jr., who he'll be back as well. We didn't see him in April. He's always a threat. He's hurt the Dodgers before in the past as well. Pitching matchups are kind of cool. We got Julio Urias against Ian Anderson. Andrew Heaney taking on Max Fried, who shut down the Dodgers back at Dodger Stadium. He threw 7 shutout innings. Dodgers lost that game. And then Tony Gonsolin, who also faced the Braves earlier this season, he threw 6 shutout innings, only allowed 1 hit. He'll be facing Spencer Strider.
He's been really good this year, Strider.
Yeah.
I say 2 out of 3. We may lose that Max Fried game. That's what I say.
I think they'll go as far as Bally, Muncy, and JT take them in this series. We know what you're going to get from Trey. You know what you're going to get from Freeman and Smith. So if those guys come in hot and stay hot, I think we can take 2 out of 3.
You guys tend to be pretty optimistic about this Brave series. I have to say, this is the first series where I'm feeling a little nervous going in. Just the pitching matchups, they look a little tough. Maybe this is the game where Andrew Heaney, someone finally gets a run off him. I don't know. We already talked about Max Fried. He's just a lefty that is always sharp against us as of late. But at the end of the day, the Dodgers got to carry their hot bats over into this series. They're getting a little bit better with runners in scoring position, but overall throughout Major League Baseball, they rank 9th, and they have the 9th most home runs hit with 84. So the offense was trending downwards. It's trending up a little more with this Red series, but that was the Reds. This is the Braves. This could be a potential postseason matchup. So you know that there's going to be a lot of intensity. And like you mentioned, we probably will see Kenley Jansen at some point. It would be great if he blew a save against the Dodgers. That's what we need to see. We saw Freddie Freeman. Might have been his first at bat. He hit a home run against the Braves off Enoa.
It was his first at bat.
First home run as a Dodger.
That's right. So that was pretty cool. I don't have much else to add about this Braves series. I don't know if you guys had any other things you wanted to throw out there real quick.
They got to execute. It's that simple. You got to execute against good teams, and the Braves are a good team. They've been super hot recently. I think they had a 13 or 14 game winning streak going at one point. So they got to execute, and they're going to face good pitchers. So it's a good test.
Yeah, they need to run the bases better too. They got to stop giving away outs on the base paths. What's going on?
That was ridiculous. I think it was today or yesterday where they had 3 outs on the bases in 2 innings or something.
Yeah.
After the Braves, the Dodgers go to Coors Field. They'll play the Rockies. They have not played the Rockies since the first series of the season. It's been that long. The Rockies took 2 of 3 against us back then. I don't really know what the pitching probables will be, but it tends to not really matter in cores regardless. I will throw out there that CJ Cron has been their best hitter. He's got like 16 or 17 home runs, I want to say. Brendan Rodgers has been heating it up as well. He sucked to start the season, but he's been on a roll as of late. The Rockies don't really have any other bats that I can think of that scare me, though.
Is Chris Bryant still injured?
I believe he is.
Yeah, I think he's, yeah. Let me see what else we got.
Forgot he existed, honestly.
He has 0 home runs this season. So if you believe it or not, has not worked out.
Shocking.
I'm a Chris Bryant fan, so it's.
You know who's 4th on the Dodgers in position player WAR?
Lux.
You would be correct. That's a higher WAR than Jose Altuve, Gleyber Torres, Kedel Marte, Marcus Semien. He's playing ball. He's playing ball, folks.
He's been great. He's been, aside from Trea Turner, he's been the most consistent hitter on this team.
Just gets on base. That's what he does.
Don't rule out Freddie Freeman. He's been pretty hot too.
Yeah, but the Lux hasn't really had a stretch like Freeman had where he was really slumping, if I can remember. At least I don't think so.
He was slumping there for a minute. He had like a 2-week stretch where he was not playing well at all.
Okay, so throw that out.
CJ Cron, 17 home runs, 52 RBIs, nearly batting 300. Charlie Blackmon's got 11 home runs, OPS almost around 800. Randall Grichuk is 3rd in their team leaderboard for home runs. He's got 7 of them. You guys called Raimel Tapia a Dodger killer, which was a false narrative. Go ahead and look up Tapia's stats because I'm sure they miss him right now. Connor Joe, another pesky guy who I remember had the Dodgers number to start the season.
Former Dodger.
He is. Former Dodger, former Giant, now a Rocky. 272 batting average on the season, so he's having a good campaign. Other than that, though, not too much going well for the Rockies. Surprisingly, Germán Marquez has had a horrible season. He has an ERA of 6.16. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I had been following him. It's been rough for him.
155 WHIP, 298 batting average against.
Do you think we'll face Kyle Freeland?
I will find out right now.
Kyle Freeland's tended to give us a little bit of trouble. Not as much as Max Fried, but it's up there.
Left-handed.
So the Dodgers will, by all accounts, it looks like they will face Kyle Freeland, and they will probably be facing
Senzatella.
It looks like, if I had to guess, Freeland, Marquez, and they might just miss Senzatella. So
I can't even name another starter on that team besides those 3.
Chad Kuhl. Yeah, Chad Kuhl. They'll face Chad Kuhl.
Chad Kuhl is on the Rockies. 3.95
ERA for Kuhl. They do have Austin Gomber. Forgot about him. He has a
Nolan Arenado centerpiece. Yeah.
Yeah.
6.68.
See,
ERA.
you do know some players.
Just not a very good rotation for the Rockies. So they got to beat them.
Why would they not trade CJ Cron last year? What are they doing?
Well, what would you get for him?
He was fucking great last year.
But he was expiring
great
contract.
Again.
Yeah, you trade him at the deadline, you get sign him anyway. It's ridiculous. I don't know how you can be so mismanaged for so long. Like, what do you need him for?
What they should have done is trade Trevor Story.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made no sense keeping him. It just him and Cron, man. I don't get it.
I mean, I don't think they get much for Cron, so I get that. But if you're not going to pay Trevor Story or John Gray, why didn't you move those guys who actually had high market value?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, makes no sense.
Very inept. That's all I got baseball-wise. One more quick question, then let's just get into some miscellaneous stuff. At Blue Heaven 466 is asking us what will happen with Cody Bellinger and Trea Turner in the offseason. I feel like we already talked about Trea Turner. I think he gets more money than Carlos Correa. I'm going to throw that out there right now. Don't know if that means the Dodgers are the ones paying him. I am on the side.
You think he gets more money than Corey Seager?
That's
No.
the real question.
No, he won't. 10 years, 325.
I don't think he gets 10 years, man. I mean, he's almost 30, right?
Yeah, he's 30.
Yeah, you're not going to pay someone to play shortstop at 40 years old.
Oh, God. No way. He'll get like 8 or 9 years, probably 30-ish million.
I think that's still high, man. I think a lot of people thought that the Seager contract was going to set the shortstop market, and I don't think that's going to be the shortstop market.
Well,
I think that's going to be the anomaly.
Lindor set the market.
Yeah, but
And then Seager got it with Boris, and then people realized, Carlos Correa, you're kind of a bitch, so no one wanted to pay him. So,
I mean, he's going to opt out. You're going to get Bogarts as a free agent. You got Swanson and Trea Turner. So this is going to be more exciting than last year's, honestly.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, Trevor Story ultimately got paid pretty nice by the Red Sox. Didn't get the fattest contract, but he's doing
a good
fine.
deal. I think
Bellinger's the weird one. That's the one that you really don't know what he's gonna get or what's gonna even happen with him. Are we watching this guy as he is? Is this who he is? Is he more than this? Can he be more? I mean, obviously we know he can be more than this, but the big question is the consistency. He doesn't put up big consistent numbers every year. So that's a tough judgment call.
Yeah.
I mean, I think his salary is going to be what it is this year. I mean, he's got 1 more year arbitration, so it's not going to go up, obviously. I think it'll be pretty much what he's getting paid this year. And if you're an organization like the Dodgers, that's what you're going to live with. They're not going to just throw him in the trash because he's not producing.
No, I meant
valuable...
I meant more like, what is he going to get on the free agent market when he is?
So after next year?
Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's totally going to be dependent on what he does next year. Because if he's not back to what he used to be somewhat next year, he's not going to get anything.
Well, I'd lock him up now so I don't have to pay more in case he does go off next year.
It's not going to happen because Scott Boras is his agent.
Got Boras, but I'd do that yesterday if I could.
His value is as low as it could possibly be. His only hope at this point is just to hope he starts to look like 2019 Bellinger, where he hit 47 home runs.
First half.
But right now, he did hit the home run Thursday. He's got 9 home runs on the season. He hit an absolute nuke off Hunter Green on a 3-0 count, but barely hitting above 200. 17 million is basically what he's making. If this is what he is, I think the Dodgers non-tender him. I'm just going to say
it's not happening, Kevin.
Yeah, there's no way they do that, man.
Why would they pay him another 17 million for this type of production?
Because that's nothing in today's day and age, especially with the Dodgers. I mean, if you're the Pirates or the Rockies, yeah, he's gone. But if you're the Dodgers with close to a $300 million payroll, you're going to pay $17 million for one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball with the premise of having him during a contract year possibly going back to what he used to be. It's a no-brainer.
Who do you replace him with? The defense-wise, there's nobody in the system with his kind of defense.
Well, I think you look on the market. I think Andrew Benintendi is a free agent.
Oh, come on.
What do you mean? Come on.
I'll keep Belly if that's my only choice.
Why?
Yeah. I mean,
he's hitting like nearly 300.
I mean, if Muncy and JT were hitting at their normal level, you can live with Bellinger and his. How he's hitting because he gives you that great defense. Because they're so bad, it makes him look worse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you pay $17 million for a number 8 hitter. It doesn't make sense. At some point, the ownership's going to want to.
What do you think you'd have to pay Benintendi?
Probably $12 million.
Okay, so we're being cheap over $5 million with the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's not going to happen.
Isn't 17 like the qualifying offer anyways?
Yep.
Something like that. So yeah, I'd pay him that.
I would not. For that time.
I would pay him that with what David was saying about the fact that it's a contract year and that the idea that he would snap into it and become that guy because he knows that that's his shot to get paid as much as he possibly can in the offseason.
Yeah. If he's going to be good, it's going to be next year or it's going to be never. So you might as well have that guy on your team and find out.
And also not to mention, he is really good in October.
Yep.
Sometimes.
No,
not always.
Nobody mentions that, but he's got, if not the same or more clutch hits than Justin Turner, man. He's very clutch.
Yep.
Not in 2019. Not really.
And he's always got that potential, man.
Not in 2017.
Any at bat, he could hit a home run. Any single at bat, he could hit a home run. And that's with plus the defense and the speed. That's a guy you keep on your team.
When the Dodgers were dead in the NLCS last year.
Yeah.
Against like the best pitcher on the Giants.
And as bad as he was in 17, he still had his moments, man.
They all had their moments, but it doesn't matter. If they don't win the World Series this season and he just plays like this all season, you're telling me you're cool with just rolling him back and running it back?
100% yes.
I don't want to see Eddie Alvarez in center field, man.
They're not going to do Eddie Alvarez. They will get somebody, whether it's Kiermaier or Benintendi. I
think Andrew Friedman, quietly, privately, is probably like, why did I trade AJ Pollock for Craig Kimbrel? You saw what we're trying the freaking ball boy out in left field. I mean, we're trying any combination that works and we're not finding it. You're not giving up a Gold Glove center fielder that could potentially hit you 25 home runs and maybe drive in 80 to 90 runs on a good year. It could be even better than that.
Let me phrase it like this. Kevin, you pick something you want to bet. It can be anything in the entire world, and I agree to it before you think of it. I agree. Whatever it is you want to bet, I'm in.
Well, it's irrelevant. We have to wait till the end of the season to see where he's at, because
I have time. I have all the time in the world, and I will still agree.
Is Ohtani a free agent?
I think one more.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess all the big names, it's one more season, but according to Dave over here, he's already wearing a Dodgers uniform.
Yeah.
To Ohtani?
Yeah.
I like getting a rise out of all the other fans.
Who was that question from, by the way?
Blue Heaven 466.
Is that somebody's burner account? Maybe Real FRG's burner account, huh? He just wants to be on the show. We haven't talked about him in a while.
Oh no. Okay. Miscellaneous time. So we got an idiot of the week to present. And then since you're our guest, Doyers Dave, you can bring up any topic that you want to rant about. So we'll start with David.
All right. This is a no-brainer for me. And frankly, I am amazed that we have come to June 23rd before this person has made an appearance on this segment. From Molly Knight, our treasured, lovely Molly Knight. Yesterday, 7 p.m. Watching the Dodgers watching the Dodgers this season is painful, even when they win. They are not steamrolling all comers like the Yankees. It has been a grind. Follow-up tweet in the thread. 3 guys in the Dodgers starting lineup tonight were hitting 203 or less. That's rough, and there's not much they can do right now, but hope these players improve. This is why people hate Dodgers fans. This is exactly why people hate us. We are in first place, sitting at 43-25 with a plus 129 run differential, with a $270 million payroll, coming off our playoff appearance for the 9th or 8th straight year, winning the division 8 out of those 9 years. This is why people hate the Dodgers. This is exactly why people hate the Dodgers. Yes, have some of these games been rough to watch? Sure. But you're going to say that when Rockies fans exist, when Reds fans exist, when Oakland A's fans exist. The Oakland A's payroll is like $7 million. They are paying ball boys and ushers and fans to play on that team. So
and to go to it.
Yeah. And, you know, I live up here. You can get a ticket in that stadium for like $4. They basically pay you to go to the games. It's empty. It's a barren wasteland. And if you're a Dodgers fan, you just can't say that. You just can't. Okay. It's a long season. The Dodgers have probably the best top to bottom roster in baseball, even with the injuries. You just can't do it, Molly. You just can't say it. And when you're going to put out awful takes pretty much on the regular, and you're going to say that, you're going to be featured as the idiot of the week. So congratulations, June 23rd. You finally made it, Molly.
I guess the issue is that it's a tweet that kind of encapsulates the entire season. Whereas it would be one thing if she made a point of like, you know, Bellinger and Turner and Muncy got to step it up. The fact that they're not producing in the middle of this order when Mookie Betts is out is concerning. that's one take that you could have. That's a criticism. That's a fair criticism. But to say that it's been a overall rough watch, no, it's not. It like you said, have individual games been absolutely brutal? Yes. But again, we have to remind ourselves, and myself included, that this is baseball and this is what happens during a 162 game season, especially when, the season started like 3 weeks late and they're trying to cram in all of these games into one schedule. And you've got the Dodgers playing 31 games in 30 days. And now they're in a stretch where they're playing 20 games in 21 days or whatever the heck it is. Like, these guys, this is a grind in and of itself. But like you said, the Dodgers have over 40 wins this year, and they are winning games and they are producing, given all of the different injuries and things that we've already covered. So to have a sweeping kind of take like that, I don't, you can't, like you said, you can't say that as a Dodgers fan.
Just spoiled and entitled. That's what
it's like. It's like an Astros fan coming out and saying, I'm sick of cheating. It's like, you can't say that.
It's like, bro, we have Mookie Betts, Trea Turner, and Freddie Freeman as the top 3 in our lineup. Like, come on. Is that really a brutal watch?
I mean, if she had said something like that on Friday, or what was it, Sunday, when the guy dropped the ball and we still lost, then I get it. It's a frustrating watch. But you say that after we beat the Reds 8-1 or something. Like, it makes no sense why you're, talking crap about the team after we just beat a pretty bad Reds team.
And, like, don't throw the Yankees in there also. Like, everybody and their mama knows the Yankees are going to collapse, whether it be during the regular season or in the playoffs. Like, come on.
Well, it's just like, when Dylan Hernandez proclaimed that the Angels were the most fun team to watch.
So bad.
And then they proceeded to lose 500 games in a row.
Not just that, they lost their stadium deal. They fired the manager. They had other controversies too.
Rendon out for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's always something with this fan base, man. It was like last year, we didn't win 108 games, so it was deemed like a bad season because the Giants played way over their head. And it was, if you're Molly Knight, you can't stoop to the BSB level or the.
Oh my God, Dave, your Photoshops yesterday fucking killed me. Oh my God,
so great.
For those who don't know, BSB is the historically most negative Dodgers fan in the history of
the world. He's miserable.
He likes it when the Dodgers suck. And just for context, before I go on a rant, this dude tweeted a manifesto about how the Dodgers were never going to win anything after Game 4 of the 2020 World Series. That was the Brett Phillips, Kenley Jansen implosion game. He did not tweet again until the following season. Did not tweet. We won a World Series for the first time in 80 years, and he did not tweet.
The greatest Twitter hiatus of all time.
Ever. You need guys like that, though, because you really do, because it kind of brings the rest of us back to center. It's sometimes you want to overreact. You're like, holy shit, what is Eddie Alvarez doing in this lineup? And then you got BSB, who's like, I would prefer a nuclear bomb to hit my house than watch this Dodgers team right now. So it's it's centering. He's a much needed presence.
And also that guy, that Howard Cole's friend, or what's that guy's name? The older
Ken?
White guy.
Ken from Newport?
No, Ewok LA or whatever.
Oh, Jim,
right.
Jimmy, he's kind of an act though. I feel like half of the shit he's just saying to say.
Oh, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, BSB, man.
Oh, God love him.
He is a cartoon character.
The sky's falling if we go down 1-0 in the first inning.
Oh, that Reds tweet I wish I could pull it up. Here, I'll try to find it, but you can keep moving the show along. It was priceless. Hi, Kevin. What's up?
Just you guys are getting into the dark side of Dodgers Twitter over here.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, our guest, I said it a few minutes ago, but
okay, wait, sorry. I'm sorry. I found it. One more thing on BSB. During the Reds game, when they went down in the first game, he goes, God, this team is a fucking disaster right now. Simply unwatchable. Can't even beat the freaking Reds. The downward spiral continues. was like the second inning of the Red Series.
Proceeds
we scored like
sweep
12
the team.
runs and then sweep their ass. Like, God, you just need guys like that. All right, Dave, the floor is yours. What do you want to talk about?
I got a nitpick or a grievance with one of you.
Okay.
Because I hold you in such high regard when it comes to Twitter and your way with words and everything, right? So,
oh God.
So you went to a Giants game.
I know what this is already.
All right, good. It's not me. I was
hoping to see a video of Dave Rosenthal getting taken out of the stadium with missing a shoe, a busted lip, or something. But holding on to Logan Webb's lip or something, because he went after him. But instead we got like this best friends picture together, saying he's a nice guy. What happened?
Yeah, explain yourself.
I went in fully prepared to sacrifice my face for the Dodgers. I was prepared to be punched in the face, have Logan Webb be suspended for the rest of the season, and have the Dodgers coast to the division title. He happens to be a delightful guy. I mean, he was very cool. He was texting me. He was messaging me on Twitter before the game saying like, hey, like, come say hi. Like, let's just talk a little bit before the game. And I was like, all right, like, okay, sounds cool. Like, sounds good. I'll text you when I'm at the game, when I'm at the stadium. And he's kind of, a super cool dude. I mean, he likes to talk shit, which I respect. And he can kind of take shit. He didn't like the steroid jab. That much is true. He is vehement that was a false test and other guys tested positive.
But he liked the jab when he got it.
But he can kind of take shit and give it back. So, I mean, he was like, I like your attitude and I think you're a good fan and all that shit. And, next time you're at the game, come say what up to me again. So, look, I want to hate him, but I like him. I wanted to hate him, but I can't hate him.
I mean, I guess I'll forgive you for it, but I wanted to see punches being thrown and stuff,
Naturally, yes. I mean, that would have been fun too. Like I would have almost preferred that. Like I probably would have preferred that, but it is what it is. Not everybody is a villain. And I don't think he is a villain in this situation.
Wow.
All right.
Always love to see a happy ending.
Well, it was. I mean, I told him like, hey, like, I don't think I can necessarily hate you anymore. So I guess good luck for the rest of the season.
We're all in the same fantasy league, but I got Logan Webb on my team. So hopefully
Cy Young pick too, Kevin.
I know. And I don't regret it. It's doing better than Walker Buehler as a Cy Young
pick. I regret both my Cy Young picks this year.
I forget who I picked I picked Cole in the AL, I think.
I picked Buehler and Giolito, and they just
woof, dude.
Awful.
Kiss of death.
For as much crap as I talk about Turner, I have him on my fantasy team.
You have Justin Turner on your fantasy team?
I do.
After all the old man memes and all of that?
I can't bring myself to drop him. I just can't.
Jeez.
Just riding the bench.
Yeah, you know something, Dave? I think the Dodgers are in the same camp. That's why they keep him around. They don't have the heart to drop him. He's going to be in that lineup for the foreseeable future if he's healthy. So if you can't even, Dave, if you can't even drop him from your fantasy team, come on, man.
He went 3 for 5 riding on the bench out today for me.
Yeah, it serves you right.
Oh, shit.
I legitimately forgot who I picked as the AL Cy Young, but oh well. Don't care, I guess.
World may never know.
I think that's pretty much it for today. I'll just do a quick out of left field. Going Star Wars route. Never really talk about that show, but Obi-Wan Kenobi, the series.
Don't spoil it. I haven't seen it.
I'm ranking it number 2 behind The Mandalorian as the best.
I haven't seen that either.
As the best Star Wars content since episode 6, even though it's technically really episode 3, but I guess it's whatever. The 3 movies sucked. I don't care if you like whatever their names are. This Obi-Wan series, without spoiling it, was badass. Not a spoiler. You get to see Darth Vader in there, and there's some good shit that goes down. Anyone got anything to add on that? Or am I the only one who watched it?
What is does Sam Scherer like it? That's what I really care about.
No,
Probably.
I knew it was a great show, and I was right that it was good. The finale too. When he started crapping on it, I'm like, okay, then I'm good then, because he started saying it was bad. I'm like, okay, no, it was great.
I trust his movie takes blindly. If he doesn't like something, I don't like it.
All right. Well, I think that concludes this episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. Make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon, Google, whatever the hell. Give us a 5-star rating if you like our show. It helps us go a long way. Follow us on Twitter. We got our Twitter handles in the description below. And I'll give the last word to @Doyers Dave.
I just want to say thank you guys for having me on. It was a blast to do this. And yeah, follow me on Twitter @DoyersDave. I put out a lot of crappy edits and stuff, but I'll make you laugh.
I have one question for you, Dave. How the hell do you get those memes out so quick? It's insane how quick you were able to put out those images.
Well, so I started a long time ago, and I can see the difference now. And it was like really crappy when I first started, and now it's just like, it's just easy for me to do. So whenever you guys put out an idea, it's like, oh, I already know what I can do with this. So like when you were standing on doing your report or whatever it was, like, I'm just going to put 2 monsters in the back and it'll look cool.
It was brilliant, man. I put it's my new header on Twitter.
So yeah, I mean, you guys just give me the ideas and I just want to make them come to life. That's all.
Word. Do you do it on like a tablet or a computer? Or what do you use?
So I'll do the computer sometimes, but so I started on my phone. Then I'm like, I need to buy myself a tablet.
Yeah.
And I think I bought one 2 years ago, and ever since it's all I use.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, everybody, you need to follow Doyers Dave if you're not.
Seriously, on Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you, guys.
All right. With that being said, have a great week, everyone. Go Dodgers.